So hello from Green-Mopeds. So today we're going to compare the newest Talaria that's arrived, which is the Komodo TL6000 as they call it. And for a comparison, we put it next to the R Pro, which was the top of the pack until that point, and then the entry-level Talaria X3 Pro. So this is the newer X3 that's available. So we'll do what we normally do, compare the bikes, focus more on this one as it is the new one, but hopefully that will help you in your research. So let's get to it. Okay, so the background to Talaria is well known. They keep surprising us really with the new models that have come out, and the X3 Pro is an example of that. The Komodo 2, obviously. At ECMA last year, they were talking about something called a dragon. I guess you could say a Komodo is a sort of dragon, but apparently the dragon is still potentially on the card. So when you hear about the specs of the Komodo, it will be a bit mind-boggling if there is going to be a dragon as well. But essentially, if we start at the sort of obvious things, so dimensions. In every dimension, the Komodo is bigger than the rest. So it is 2.2 meters long, and that compares with 1.8 meters or 1.84 meters of the X3. It's got a much bigger seat height. So the seat height is 91 centimeters on the Komodo, and it goes down to 80 centimeters, or 80 and a half to be precise, on the X3. And in the middle is the Pro at 84 centimeters. So in some respects that might exclude some people. Obviously, if you're a smaller sort of person, then you're probably more likely to suit the X3 than a Komodo. The next thing is weight. So again, the little X3 is 58 kilos and the Komodo is 98 kilos, so 40 kilos heavier. One of the reasons for that, obviously, other than it's bigger, is actually the battery, which we'll come on to. But just to touch on that a little bit, if a fixed battery is not good for you, so you live in a block of flats, you have no ability to charge, then the only one out of these three is the R Pro. Because currently the Komodo is only available in an off-road version, although the box does state already marked Komodo L3E. So expect a road legal 125cc license Komodo sometime soon. Not sure if that'll be by the end of the year, as we're in September now, but wouldn't be surprised if it comes out early next year. Okay, at the front we've got 19, 19 and 21 inch wheels. At the back on the X3 we have a 17-inch rear and 1919s on the Pro and 2118s on the Komodo. Okay, so you'll also notice while we're talking about this rear wheel, look at the size of the sprocket and also the chain, as we're here, compared to the Pro, which has already had an upgraded chain from the standard R. But look at the size of the sprockets. So they're going for a lot of torque on the Komodo, certainly compared to the X3 and the R Pro. Okay, so yeah, when you know about the power and everything of this bike, you'll see why wheelies are absolutely not a problem. So while we talk about batteries, one of the things to notice about the Komodo, you get under the seat with this little latch here, and there's probably a reason for it to be lockable, because at the moment it isn't, and you can literally just flick that and you're under the seat, and then you're into this, and they talk about it being removable. It suggests it's removable because obviously it's got a handle on it, but you do actually need tools. Okay, so you need Allen keys. So it's removable with tools, let's say. The X3 is removable, but with more tools, because you have to drop the rear swing arm, but not as easy as obviously the R Pro, which is just take off the lid and lift it out. So if there is one negative thing to say about the Komodo, it's that bit of security right there. You know, these batteries are very expensive and you don't really want an easy way for them to be stolen. Okay, but other than that, it's a big lump and it is removable. Okay, so that's that. When we're talking about battery capacity, I guess we have to first talk about voltage. So voltage affects acceleration is 97 volts on the Komodo, and it's 72 volts on the R Pro and 60 volts on the X3. More voltage equals more acceleration, and voltage in conjunction with the amp hours equals battery capacity and therefore range. So on the X3, you've got about 2.4 kilowatt hours, and this is really just to give you some comparison of potential range. On the Pro, you've got 2.8 kilowatt hours, so it's 72 times 40, and on the Komodo, it's 97 by 45, which means that the Komodo has got nearly twice as much capacity as the X3, but it hasn't got twice as much range, and the obvious reason for that is power. So when we talk about power, it is pretty mind-boggling in electric, other than when you start getting into Stark Vargs and things like that, to have a bike that is 32 kilowatts. So 32 kilowatts on the Komodo versus 13 kilowatts on the R Pro versus 5 on the X3. So you're talking about 6 and a bit times more power in the Komodo than the X3. Okay, and people are already riding X3s like they've stolen them, and they do wheelies on them and all that sort of stuff. So if you compare, all right, it's got 40 more kilos of weight. So it's not twice as much in terms of weight, but it's got 7 times as much in terms of power. Okay, so it's really a bike that you should sort of give some respect to, at least until you get used to it. Okay, you might have seen our little TikTok on it being ridden, but it really does fly off the handle. Not to say that the X3 and the R Pro are not good bikes, but in comparison, the spec is just 6 times more powerful. Okay, so that's that. The range, with that in mind, is actually quoted as 70-mile range for the Komodo. Versus 50-mile range for the X3. So range is just a function of battery capacity and power and all that sort of stuff. So it's not like, well, just because you've got nearly twice as much battery capacity, you're going to automatically go twice as far, especially if you're doing it at 32 kilowatts. You can, as we've shown on other reviews, work out the worst case scenario at full pelt to work out what a realistic worst case scenario range is. But we won't bother with that now. But if you're really interested, I could let you know. On other things like charging time. So obviously, as I said, the R Pro has got a removable battery, so you can take that out to any socket. On the Komodo and X3, you've got to take the bike to a socket. But the charging time is still quoted as 3 hours on the Komodo. Okay, and obviously the charger has been uprated to support that. On the R Pro, it's about the same, and on the X3, it's a little bit longer. Okay, even though the capacity is a lot lower, the actual charging rate is also lower. Okay, so essentially, if you actually sit on the bike, you'll see going around the dash that it's pretty much standard stuff. So Talaria have sort of standardized in the off-road bikes on this sort of dash. Obviously, no light to turn on and off. You see it's got reverse and it's got a horn. It's also got spaces for mirrors. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is already wired up to be road legal. Yep, it's also got brake switches. So if you see in there, it's also got brake switches already set. So this is as close to being road legal as you can. Talaria often do this, that they actually make the looms already road legal. So if you see that little button in there, you can see that it's got a brake switch on it already, but no brake lights. Okay. And it's also got reverse, it's also got a horn already. So in theory, I reckon you could probably convert this quite easily to a road legal bike, other than the fact that you have to then get it tested and get an MOT. You can also see that on the Pro. It's also got brake switches already enabled, but no actual brake lights. Okay, so that's, again, a sign that these things are carrying the same loom. All right, so anyway, beside the point. So you've got your regen switch here. You've got this kill switch. So this is, you attach this to your arm, wrist, and if this comes off, it will actually put the bike into safe mode so that the bike doesn't actually carry on without you. You see it's magnetic. You've got some quite decent pegs. That's the R Pro ones. And then you can see here the massive controller and the battery. As you can see, it is removable. They've made it so it is removable. Just you need some tools to do it. Okay, so that's most of the features. When it comes to price, the prices are $2,995 for the X3 Pro, the version 2 Pro, $4,295 for the R Pro, and $5,795 for the Komodo. So obviously a bit more money. You're talking almost nearly twice as much as an X3, but as you can tell, it's a lot more bike for the money. Okay, so obviously you take your choices. The Komodo also, they've now just announced some other colours of, rather than just this stealthy black, there's also a blue and a green, if that's of interest. On the others, it's usually down to stickers. So this is black with red stickers. X3s come black only, but we're now fitting these sticker kits for you if you want them. Otherwise, it's just plain black. There's no X3 red. Well, not anymore, but at the moment. And that's that. So hopefully that's given you a sort of brief outline of the X3 and the versus the R Pro and the Komodo. Obviously, if you'd like a test ride, then please feel free to contact us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Green-Mopeds, for this and other reviews. And thanks very much.